Welcome everybody to the first and worst episode of the Hashtagony, a brand new excuse for me to talk about stuff and an opportunity for you to endure my extremely reasonable opinions on a variety of things. So I'm going to kick this series off actually with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I was invited by Square Enix early this month for a pretty beefy hands-on experience ahead of the September 14th launch of the game. And I wanted to talk about it so badly that I just created an entire new show just to do that. So I don't know what episode 2 is going to be. It could be absolutely nonsense. It could be 45 minutes of me talking about Batman vs. Superman and why it's actually awesome. The Hashtagony. Anyways, so I was given the opportunity to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider for about 4 hours, which is a pretty good chunk of time to get a good idea on what this game is going to deliver in September. Of course, I had already played the first hour or so back in April during the reveal event in Montreal that I also got invited to by Square Enix. So thank you for that. There's a whole episode of the Hashcast special on that. So I've had about 5 times of quality Lara time so far. And on top of that, I got to sit down back then with Jill Murray, the lead writer on the game. And this time I talked to the director, Daniel Chaillet-Bisson. And they are absolutely delightful people. And keep an eye out in September because I will have Jill on the Hashcast to talk about the game and her career and all that stuff. So it was great. Did I just plug my show on my own show? I absolutely did that. Also, check me out on patreon.com/thehashtagonist and drop me $1. Anyway, so I have a lot of thoughts on this game. So please kick back and enjoy the footage while you listen to me ramble, because this is going to be a YouTube exclusive show, because this is not going to be as much fun on the SoundCloud unless this turns into something else. Anyways, so first of all, game looks amazing. I played this on the Xbox One X. Call me Microsoft. And the game runs fine, looks fine. I did not play the gold build, so it was like 1 or 2 versions before that, but it looks good. And if this is your first experience with me as a game commentator, then you should probably know that I am very, very easygoing when it comes to the tech stuff. So if you're playing this later and you're like, but Mr. Hashtagonist, there was clearly a frame dip of 7.2 megabytes during the Force Processor Nintendo sequencer, then I probably just either didn't see that, missed it, didn't care. All I can tell you is that Lara's skin looks so smooth, I kind of wanted to touch the 4K monitor to see if it also felt very smooth, because that's how good it looks. Graphic stuff, super cool. Game looks gorgeous. The jungle environment, because it all takes place in the jungle in Peru, looks great. I saw birds. I saw some monkeys. Looked around for a couple of minutes. Good. Like, kind of what I expect in this generation game. It looks great. Like, fine. That's all I need for there. But you might have other standards for that. So, cool. Lara's cool. But that's not why I think this game is going to be super cool. And I do think this game is going to be super cool, because I think for the first time, Lara Croft is a actual person. She feels like a real person. And I know we've all been, making a little fun of it, throwing a little shade, get it, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, at Become the Tomb Raider tagline, because it's the tagline I've been using for this game a lot. And we were all like, but we have raided tombs in the previous 2 games as well. So I talked about this with the game director as well, and how he explained that, it kind of makes sense. Just trust me on this one. Like, he explained how in the first game, like, you get stranded on the island and danger comes for Lara. In the second game, when you find out that your dad was, like, killed by Trinity, you seek it out. You actively seek out the danger that is Rise of the Tomb Raider. And in this game, Lara is the danger. Like, she legitimately is the danger in this game. She's so efficient and so extremely comfortable in taking down her enemies, that she is the force to be reckoned with in the Peruvian jungle, mostly. So in a way, this is the closing chapter of the prequel trilogy. Like, it's not a prequel, but if you wanna view it that way, that's probably not a bad way to view it. I didn't know that ahead of time when I played the first Tomb Raider that it was going to be a 3-part setup, and I don't think it was communicated very well, but that's kind of what they're going for. So at the end of this game, you should have the Lara Croft that we have grown up with or known from the beginning, like the fully capable, taking no shit, killing wolves and bears and left and right, and even dinosaurs. Yeah, the 90s was funny. My dream end for this game, because I didn't play it all the way through, obviously, is that the game ends at the first cave that you start Tomb Raider 1 in, like the original Tomb Raider, and that you just walk and do the jump and the double pistol thing. That would be so cool, but probably not gonna happen. I asked them, like, is this how the game is gonna end? And they did just not want to talk to me anymore about that. So who knows? But so yeah, it's great. But being very efficient at murdering fools left and right does not a real person make. And like I said, like, she feels like a real person. So everything what I say about becoming the Tomb Raider does not really do justice what makes Lara such a, what I think is going to be a cool character. So I'll try to explain a little bit how I came to that conclusion in my 4 hours, and that's because there are a couple of little scenes that I picked up on that really tell you a lot about where they're going with this character. Like in my previous piece, and if you've listened to this before, Lara makes a couple of mistakes early in the game that gets a lot of people hurt. She seems to be unable to recognize that. And there's a scene where one of her companions, Jonah, is kind of reflecting on that, how they maybe could have done more to help those people, and she just won't hear it. Like she keeps talking over him with the next step, the next thing to find, the next location you have to go through, and it's a really interesting scene. And another thing is, and I loved this part, is Lara is so good at what she does. She's so good at murdering people. She's so good at climbing it, and like all the adventure stuff that we know Lara Croft for. So without spoiling too much, and I'm really trying to be careful to explain why this is so cool. Now imagine that Lara, like the young woman, super murder machine, super efficient, super passionate. Imagine her having to sit down with a couple of locals and have a beer. How they did that scene, they put her in a social situation, and the results of that scene, I think, will tell you more about what a kind of person Lara Croft is than we have seen from her in at least the last 2 games combined, and probably even before that, because we really didn't ever focus on her as a person like that. And why I think that scene, and you got to see this for yourself, works so well is about an hour gameplay earlier, maybe a little less. There's a scene that really blew my mind. I loved it so much that I brought it up in my interview after with the director, and he almost like high-fived me in recognition of how cool that scene was. And I can't show the scene because the footage that we got does not include the cutscenes. But I'm 100% sure you will see this scene before the game launches, because it's just such an incredible moment. So without saying too much, but Lara is faced with like an incredibly dangerous situation, and you see her discomfort in her face at first. She's slightly scared, Lara, and then she just like takes a breath, and then when she opens her eyes, she has a look in her eyes that will give you like the awesome chills. And like awesome chills is a word now. Like that word was created the moment she took that breath. Like, it's so good. Like, it's so good. And when I brought it up with Daniel, the director, I asked, like, I told him, like, I noticed that moment, and it felt like there was something there. Like, it wasn't just a cutscene. And he was like, oh, yeah. That was what he called a benchmark moment for Lara. And that was an important part that they wanted to show what Lara had become. And when you see it for yourself, I think you'll see what a great job the entire team, from the writers to the animators to the voice acting. Camilla Lullington is back for this again. They've really done something great for this character. So I know I've been rambling about this for a bit, and you might be like, but Mr. Hashtagonist, what about the tombs and the gameplay and the comment? Like, I get it, and I will touch on it briefly. But look, I asked the team what it was that they wanted the players to take away from this game. Like, I asked, what do you want when people walk away from this game? What do you want them to take away from that? And he said, he told me that the most important thing to him and the team was that the players feel like they had done right by the character of Lara Croft, and they want you to relate to this character. They want you to understand this character and feel like their version of Lara Croft is the Lara Croft. And I think that is cool, because I have been a Tomb Raider fan for a long time. Like, big fan. When I was like 13, I had a big mural in my bedroom of the box art of the first Tomb Raider, like wall to wall. It was nuts. So I have known this character from the start, and what I see them doing now in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is super cool. I love it, and I hope that when you get your hands on it, you pick up on these things yourself as well. And if you do, please talk to me about this game, because it's going to be great. So yeah, the one thing I walked away from in my 4 hours was that. So I think their wish, they will have their wish granted, that people really will be talking about Lara Croft as a character, and I can't wait for my peers to get their pieces out on when this comes out, because we all have the same embargo line, so I can finally talk about the things I noticed. But we'll see. You'll have to wait another month or so. Check it out. Game looked great, fantastic. But I'll go into some of the things you really want to hear. Maybe the gameplay, the tombs, the combat, and all that jazz. So if you've played the other games, there's nothing for you to worry about. Like, it's better. It looks great. They added a bunch of new stuff. Underwater levels, absolutely terrifying. But what they did, and they came out with this on the news on Thursday, because this will go up on Monday or Friday, sorry, is the difficulty level, the 3x3 difficulty level. It's actually 3x4, I think, where you can change the difficulty level on different aspects of the game, which is combat, traversal, and puzzles. So if you want easy combat and hard puzzles, instead of putting the whole game on easy, which makes the whole game easier, you can now just pick combat and put that on a lower difficulty level. So you can, the enemies will be weaker, you'll have more ammo, and they have, I think, a bit of a shine to them when you go into survival mode, so you can actually keep track of your enemies. But at the same time, your puzzles will not be affected, because I think it was in previous games, if you put it on easy, Lara would often give you hints while playing. So I think we have to do this next. I think I can move that kind of stuff, and she still does that. But if you put your puzzle difficulty on hard and combat on easy, she'll stop doing that. There will be no tips and interactive elements in the tombs. If you press your survival mode button, won't light up anymore. So you really have to look for the answer. And they even take it so far that even traversal mode, you can put that up as well, And you know how we always make fun about the who painted the ledges for Lara to know she can climb with it? They took that out. If you put that on hard, the white paint completely disappears. If you put it on normal, it's kind of visible, and if you put it on easy, it's very visible. And that is so cool to me, that if you really want that experience, you can put everything on hard mode and you'll have a completely different experience than from someone who puts on easy mode. Now, of course, if the street cred is important for you, that's cool, but sorry, what I liked about that is it makes everything a little bit more accessible as well. Because if you don't have the reflexes or the response times needed for some of the pretty tough combat, put it on easy, enemies will go down easier, and you'll still have the challenge of the puzzles and the traversal and the climbing and all those things. So I think that's very cool. Like more accessibility, always better, of course. The tombs itself, I only got 2 or 3 in the 4 hours I think that I did. Maybe when I add the first hour in the other event, maybe 4. They're cool. There seems to be a strong focus maybe on the underwater levels. Everything I've played there were 3 underwater sections. It's cool. Like, it's not super annoying. I know water levels are not highly appreciated by everybody, but it makes sense, and they give you a good amount of breath to deal with, so it's not that you'll be looking for air all the time. The gasping for air animation looks really good, so if that's a thing, you're gonna have a great day with the catching the breath animation on Lara Croft. So it's fun. Like, if you've played any of the previous Tomb Raider games, same concept, like a lot of rope puzzles, pulling carts, moving objects, the usual stuff. But it's cool. It's fun. Looks great. The whole new thing is, of course, the you can slide down your rope now, so you can climb up, and then on some parts of the levels you can scale down from the rope. And what I thought was pretty cool is in the previous 2 games, there was no game mechanic for Lara to go down the level. Like, all the progress was mostly vertical, so they would make you climb up, and then at some point you would have to be brought down, otherwise, you would climb to the moon. So they didn't have anything in place for that, and that's why in the first 2 games Lara fell off shit like all the time, because that was the game's way to put you on a lower level, so the next level you could do the vertical traversal again. So I thought it was a cool little tidbit that I picked up, and I'm sharing with you right now because I'm a sharer. So yeah, pretty cool. It adds a lot to the level design. I did not get to talk to the level designer, but otherwise I would have definitely talked about that as well. So everything you need from your Tomb Raider game it's there. It's better. The tombs are going to be more deadly than they have ever been before, especially in the late game and the optional dungeons. So expect to die a lot, apparently, in those tombs. I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure that over the next couple of weeks they'll put those in the spotlight as well. So difficulty, pretty good. I died a bunch of times in my 4 hours, usually because I'm stupid and I'm not super awesome at timing my jumps. I did notice that the death scenes seem to be toned down a little bit. Don't get me wrong, like she dies in terrible ways, but it doesn't seem to linger on her agony as much as in the previous titles. But maybe I'm just not remembering that correctly, but that's certainly how it felt like. Death by Lara, though, holy shit, like, she is absolutely terrifying. I called her a monster in my interview, meaning like just a beast, but she was like, no, she's not a monster, she's just very driven, because moral choices and all that. So yeah, she's absolutely a beast. She's super duper efficient, and if you enjoy stabbing baddies in the neck with like a piece of scrap metal, oh man, you are gonna have a lot of fun. yeah, like her knife is a piece of scrap metal. It's nuts. It's absolutely, it's so brutal. It's so cool. You'll really feel like the predator a little bit. You know, when you're crawling through the through the jungle with mud on your face, hiding in the bushes, and then stabbing some dude in the neck. It's fantastic. You'll love it if that's what you're there for in that game, to just mow down a bunch of dudes and stab them in the face. It's all there. But like I said before, my biggest thing for Shadow of the Tomb Raider is seeing what they did to the character, and I absolutely love it. I think Lara's going to be great to play around with, but I cannot wait to see her grow, and I can't wait to see where she'll be at the end of this game, because I think like you'll love Lara, but you might not like her at first, and I cannot wait to see her become the Tomb Raider.